世界を滅亡から救うためにお姫様を殺すゲーム、スレイザプリンセスやってくよ。
これはホラーゲームです。ホラーが苦手な方にはおすすめできません。これはラブストーリーです。ホラーでラブストーリーらしいね。
完全初見のゲームなので、まずは設定を確認。事前に、レビューなんかは軽く読んでるんだけど、システム的にはよくあるノベライズゲームのようです。実際やってみて面白かったので、紹介がてら、初見プレイを見せながら宣伝したいなって。では始めていきましょう。
第1章、勇者とプリンセス。
You're on a path in the woods, and at the end of that path is a cabin. And in the basement of that cabin is a princess. You're here to slay her. If you don't, it will be the end of the world.
世界は終焉を迎える？一体何の話をしてるんだ？
I'm talking about the end of everything as we know it. No more birds, no more trees, and perhaps most problematically of all, no more people. You have to put an end to her.
地下室に閉じ込められたプリンセスがどうやって世界を終わらせるっていうんだ？
Don't linger on the specifics. You have a job to do here. Just get in there and do what needs to be done. We're all counting on you.
それを裏付ける証拠はあるのか？
Look, you're already on the path that leads to the cabin. Why would you be here if it weren't to complete a very important task? You've made it this far, you might as well reach the end of your journey.
ナレーターって TRPG でいうゲームマスターみたいなものなのかな？
この使命を果たしたら何かしらの報酬があるのか？
Yes, but you'll have to slay her before you get it.
しょうがない。彼女と話して悪人だったらやってやろう。でも現時点では約束できないな。
Then I guess we'll just have to see what happens. But a word of warning. If you go in prepared to hear her out, she could easily trap you in her web of lies. And the more you listen to her honeyed words, the harder it'll be to pull yourself out. Then each and every one of us is doomed. So sure, go, talk to her. See how that turns out for all of us. You make your way up the short path to the cabin. You'll find the princess within. We're not going to go through with this,
あ
right?
れ、プレイ
She's
ヤ
a
ーとナレーター
princess.
以外の
We're
人もいる
supposed
ん
to
だ。
save princesses, not slay them. Ignore him. He doesn't know what he's talking about.
小屋の中に入る。
The interior of the cabin is almost entirely bare. The air is stale and musty, and the floor and walls are painted in a fine layer of dust. The only furniture of note is a plain wooden table. The blade is your implement. You'll need
話は
it
聞く
if you want to do
が、世
this
界を滅ぼ
right.
す何かなら、せめて刃物は持っていこうかな。
You take the blade from the table. It'd be rather difficult to slay the princess and save the world without it.
地下室へ行く。
The door to the basement creaks open, revealing a staircase faintly illuminated by an unseen light in the room below. This is an oppressive place. The air feels heavy and damp, a hint of rot filtering from the ancient wood. If the princess really lives here, slaying her is probably doing her a favor. Her voice carries up the stairs.
Who's there?
She sounds dangerous. It's almost as if she's the one in charge down here. Don't let it fool you. It's all part of the manipulation.
そのまま階段を降りる。
Good. You're still listening to reason. You walk down the stairs and lock eyes with the princess. There's a heavy chain around her wrist, binding her to the far wall of the basement. She's so coldly beautiful. Is she really a threat to the world? Focus on the task at hand.
And there you are. Are you here to kill me or something? How about you drop the knife and the two of us just talk?
Look how reasonable she's being. We should just drop the blade and talk things out. Don't you dare. It's fine. We can decide what we want to do after we talk to her. Maybe she really is a monster. You ignore the trembling in your hands and tighten your grip on the blade.
You poor thing. Your hands are shaking. Are you scared of me? Because you should.
You step forward, your grip on the blade tightening as you steel your resolve.
I'm probably chained up in this basement for a reason, right? And if that knife is the only weapon you have, you'll have to get close enough to use it. So, you should just drop it. Best not to risk finding out what I can do.
She's unarmed. If you hesitate now, it'll be too late. End this. You're so close. Don't give up. You've come this far. No, this is a good idea. Maybe we can de-escalate things.
Oh, threatened, are we? You poor thing. Drop the knife, and of course we can talk. Then I'm not talking to you. I guess we are.
For the love of everything, just slay her already. Or drop the blade. Do something.
Yeah, I'm sure.
For goodness sake, the two of you can't just stand around like this forever. Eventually, something is going to give, and I highly recommend that you be the one to take the initiative here. Doubt, unfortunately, clouds your thoughts as you attempt to run her through. A moment of distraction and hesitation is all she needed to sidestep your thrust and deliver a catastrophic blow to your jaw. It feels like you've been hit with a sledgehammer. You can feel bone grinding on bone where your jaw has been fractured. Holy shit, that hurt! Though she's unarmed, the shock of that first strike is enough to stagger you, putting you and the princess on somewhat equal footing. Your blade slashes through the air again and again, and her fists connect with your body as many times or more, each impact as heavy as that first bone-crushing hit. We can still turn this around. Are you serious? It's a good idea. We've taken some bad hits, but we've dealt some too. She has to be feeling it more than we are. Let's regroup upstairs. If we're lucky, maybe she'll just bleed out. Fine. You make a mad dash to the basement stairs, the princess's chains rattling as she tries to chase you, but pulling taut much too soon for her to catch up.
Do you really think you can just walk out of here?
She steps towards you, ignoring her chains. They creak and strain as she pulls against them until finally they break. She's free. Hurry. You push your broken body as she closes in and just barely manage to pass the threshold of the basement doorway before she catches up to you. You close the basement door, locking it behind you and quickly barricading it with the heavy wooden table that once held the blade. Okay, we can make this work. She has an awful wound and we have all the time in the world. Plan to settle in against the far wall to watch the basement door. It isn't long before you start to drift off, your eyelids heavy with fatigue. But sleep doesn't come. Instead, your rest is broken by a piercing, wailing voice calling out to you from the other side of the door.
I know you're still there. Why don't you make things easier on yourself and let me out? It's not like this little door will hold for very long anyways. But it's probably a good idea to try to get back on my good side.
She sounds terrifying. Like she's less of the princess you saw and more like something out of a nightmare. As she violently rattles the door, you do your best to shut her out of your mind.
When I get out of here, I'm going to pick you apart piece by piece. I won't forget what you did, and I'll never forgive it. You don't know the kind of enemy you've made tonight.
It doesn't sound like she's getting any weaker.
フィジカルお化けさん、どう考えてもプリンセスじゃないだろ。とにかく体力を無駄に使えばよいさ。こっちは複数人で扉を押さえてるんだぞ。
I wouldn't be so sure about outlasting me. You're so brittle. So go ahead, rest, do whatever you think will help you be prepared. But know that I'm coming for you, and that when I find you, I will make you hurt.
You put the princess's threats out of your mind as best you can and huddle up against the wall. You jolt awake in the middle of the night to silence in the cabin. The ruckus has stopped, and the door to the basement is ajar, its lock broken, and the table shoved out of the way. Where is she?
Thanks for helping me get out of that awful basement.
You try and stumble to your feet, but as the princess draws near, it's as though your body simply stops working. It isn't all at once. The paralysis comes in waves. First your toes go numb, and then your feet, and then your legs. You lie prone on the floor of the cabin, unable to do anything but witness her approach. Whose side are you on? Yours, of course. But I have a duty to uphold the truth. Lying about the facts of the situation doesn't change them.
So helpless. I can take my time with you, can't I?
She steps closer, one silent footfall at a time, cocking her head in curiosity as you feel your organs shutting down one by one.
Or maybe I can't take my time with you. You don't look well. A little green around the gills. What a shame. If you'd only helped me get out of here, we could have done such wonderful things together.
Your lungs stop drawing in breath, and your heart freezes in your chest.
I'd say better luck next time, but we both know this is the end, don't we?
壊すぎプリンセス。
This can't actually be how everything ends. I'm sorry, but it is. Everything goes dark, and you die.
第2章、ナイトメア。
You're on a path in the woods, and at the end of that path is a cabin. You're here to slay her. If you don't, it will be the end of the world.
ループものですかね。
It hasn't. Or if it has, I certainly haven't been a part of it. We've just met for the first time, you and I. If he doesn't remember what happened, then maybe it's best to keep it that way.
声の人物が増えた。
What if he hears us? That's a very good question, little voice. What if he does hear you? Shit. I think you'll find yourselves very hard-pressed to keep any secrets from me. Not that it matters right now, because like I said, this is the first time we've met. Still, I'd rather not get off on the wrong foot. We've a world to save after all.
ループものだとして、なんで、ナレーターの言うことを聞かなきゃならんのか。
Those are two very different questions, but fine, I'll indulge you if that's what it takes to get you moving. Let's say for a moment that this really is the second time you've met me, or at least a version of me. If you're back here, I'm assuming you died, which probably only happened because you didn't listen to me. Oh, we listened to you all right. Worst decision of our incredibly short life. We tried to slay her, we really did, but she was gonna kill us. It was either lock her in the basement or let her finish beating us to death. Well then, congratulations. You've been given another chance to actually do this right. And your solution is to send us back in there. Do you want us to slay the princess, or do you want the princess to slay us? Obviously, I want you to slay her. One of you poses a threat to the world, and the other doesn't. Anyways, I believe your other question was something along the lines of, what's the point of doing anything? If you're asking that, it sounds to me like you're making the rather dangerous assumption that your actions last time around didn't have any consequences. What do you mean? Of course there weren't any consequences. We were killed by the princess, and now everyone's right back where they started. It sounds pretty consequence-free to me. Speak for yourself. From my perspective, there were plenty of consequences. I'm never going to forget the way she just made us. And that's only scratching the surface. If what you said is true, it begs the question of how you got back here. Did time simply rewind itself, or have you found yourself in another world altogether? If it's the latter, what do you think happened after you died? Do you think the people there lived happily ever after? Or do you think that the princess, left unhindered, brought about the end to everyone and everything, just like I told you she would? If she brought an end to everything and everyone, how are we supposed to stop her? What do you want from us? I want you to succeed. You'll find a way.
この
You're
プリン
the
セス
only
につ
one
いて
who
話そ
can.
う。このってことは、やっぱり、いろんなプリンセスがいるんだね。
Just be quick about it.
彼女の近くにいるだけで死にそうになるんですけど。
Like I said, if she killed you, it was probably because you didn't listen to me. Don't talk to her, don't trust her, just go in, do your job and save the world.
あんたただのプリンセスって言ってたけど化け物じゃん。ただのプリンセスじゃないじゃん。
She is just a princess. Whatever you think happened to you last time, just get it out of your head before you get to the cabin and you'll be fine. People locked her in that basement, and I told you what this place is. It's a path in the woods. Don't overcomplicate things.
いや、あの化け物を捕らえた人たちがやればいいのでは？
Look, I'm not supposed to say this, but it's because you're special. You're the only person capable of doing this. Call it a prophecy, if that helps, but it's just the way things are. You can't just goad us into doing something by calling us special. It's manipulative. Why are you trying to manipulate us? I don't know, I kinda like being special. Okay, fine. Maybe you can goad him into doing something, but he's not even the one who makes the decisions here. I'm not goading you into doing anything. You already know the princess is dangerous. All I'm trying to say is that you have to be the one to deal with her. I know it doesn't seem fair, but that's just the way it is. And for what it's worth, I know you have it in you to finish the job.
あんたには隠し事
You
が
saw
多い
what
な。
happened to us last time.
ゲームマ
We
スター
need
的な
to
立ち位置の
leave.
人とも違うんだね、ナレーター。
I've told you everything you need to know. Going into more detail would just overcomplicate an otherwise very simple situation and make your job more difficult. If you want us to stand a chance against her, we need to be armed with information. What is she really capable of? How are we supposed to stop her? Not to sound like a broken record, but the less you know about her, the better things will go for all of us. I know it sounds like I'm hiding something, but you're just going to have to take me at my word. He isn't telling us everything he knows because he doesn't trust us, which means that we can't trust him. Stop talking yourself in neurotic circles and just get to the cabin already. Do you see the way he keeps pushing us? We have to get out of here. Great. Now, if you don't mind, the whole world is waiting with bated breath for you to save it from ruin. This is good. I was worried you might fall for his shit again, but this is good. Whatever answers there are to be found, they aren't here, and they definitely aren't there. Seriously? You're just going to turn around and leave? Fine. I suppose you just quietly continue down the path away from the cabin. That's strange. It looks like this path also leads to the cabin. How convenient. Everything's back on track again. Maybe the world can still be saved after all. You're really keen on wasting everyone's time, aren't you? It's remarkably selfish, if you ask me. I've already outlined the stakes of the situation. If you don't do your job, everyone dies. Like, dies. But fine, you turn around and trek back down the path you came.
Wait, something isn't right. Can you still hear me? You're supposed to wind up back at the cabin again. But everything is getting fuzzy. What's going on? Where are we? It's finally happened, hasn't it? We finally cracked.
第1章、勇者とプリンセス。
You're on a path in the woods, and at the end of that path is a cabin. And in the basement of that cabin is a princess. You're here to slay her. If you don't, it will be the end of the world. You make your way up the short path to the cabin. You'll find the princess within. We're not going to go through with this, right? She's a princess. We're supposed to save princesses, not slay them. Ignore him. He doesn't know what he's talking about. The interior of the cabin is almost entirely bare. The air is stale and musty, and the floor and walls are painted in a fine layer of dust. The only furniture of note is a plain wooden table. Perched on that table is a pristine blade. The blade is your implement. You'll need it if you want to do this right. You take the blade from the table. It'd be rather difficult to slay the princess and save the world without it. The door to the basement creaks open, revealing a staircase faintly illuminated by an unseen light in the room below. This is an oppressive place. The air feels heavy and damp, a hint of rot filtering from the ancient wood. Her voice carries up the stairs.
Who's there?
She sounds dangerous. It's almost as if she's the one in charge down here.
Don't let it fool you. It's all part of the manipulation.
そのまま階段を降りる。
You're still listening to reason. You walk down the stairs and lock eyes with the princess. There's a heavy chain around her wrist, binding her to the far wall of the basement.
She's so coldly beautiful. Is she really a threat to the world?
Focus on the task at hand.
And there you are. Are you here to kill me or something?
勇気を奮い起こして一歩前に出る。
You step forward, your grip on the blade tightening as you steel your resolve.
Oh? No talking then? Fine. What even makes you think you can kill me? I'm probably chained up in this basement for a reason, right? And if that knife is the only weapon you have, you'll have to get... So, you should just drop it. Best not to risk finding out what I can do.
She's unarmed. If you hesitate now, it'll be too late.
Princessを倒す。
You lunge forward without a moment's hesitation. You feel flesh easily give way and look down to see your blade already sinking deep into her heart.
Oh. This is it, isn't it? I'm almost embarrassed. I should have seen that coming. But I have to wonder. Do you actually believe this was enough to kill me?
It's like she's
これは調
convinced
べる
she
と生きてい
can't
るパタ
die.
ーン。
Yes, even as she lays there dying, she entirely believes herself to be alive and well. But it's over, isn't it? She stopped breathing moments ago, that arrogant look still plastered on her face. But is it over? Really over?
もちろん違う。簡単すぎる。
It's over. Don't get all worked up. We should make sure. What's the harm in checking for a pulse? I really don't think you should do that. And why shouldn't we? Is there something you're not telling us? I've told you everything that's happened with complete accuracy. The princess is dead.
下手に調べるとヤバそうだから終わったことにするか。
Yes, exactly. It's over. With your work done, you make your way back up the stairs, closing the door to the basement behind you. Why do I feel like we've done something terrible? You did kill someone. Greater good or not, something would be very wrong with you if you didn't feel at least a little bad. But it was for the greater good. But that day isn't today. Let's just get out of here. You open the cabin door, ready to return to a world saved from certain doom. Only, a world saved from certain doom isn't what you find. Instead, what you find is nothing at all.
主人公が物語だけの存在だからなのか、外から
Everyone's fine.
文字通り何
It's
かや
just
られ
that
ているのか、
you and the cabin are now
現時
far
点で
away
は
from
何
them.
とも言えないね。
Don't worry. You'll be safe here. This is good. Everyone.
ああ、わかった。
I'm so glad you're keeping an open mind. This is what's best for everyone. Trust me. Time passes. You can't be sure if it's days or months or years. Hey.
出られる方法があるなら聞いておこうか。
I do, but you're probably not going to like it. The blade. We can use the blade to get out of this. I can hear everything you say, little voice. There's only one thing it would want you to use that blade on, and I'm afraid that thing is you, dear hero. He's right. It's the only way out. Do you hear that? It wants to take this happiness away from you. It wants this wonderful place. Do you not? There's more for us to do, and the only way for us to do it is to take... Don't you dare.
今回は役割に徹しておくかな。
What a relief. I suppose we've got all the time in the world for you to change your mind. More happy time passes, though the word begins to lose its meaning. time. Please shake yourself out. The little voices, please. Eventually you pass into a blissful state of pure existence. Though words like
おや、エンディングですね。ということでね、まだ最初の方だから、世界観とか全然説明できてないけど、スレイザプリンセスは Steam で発売中です。展開によっては、左みたいになったり右みたいなことになったり、いろいろ分岐があるから、自分の目でぜひ確認してみてほしい。おすすめのノベライズゲームですよ。それではご視聴ありがとうございました。
you're on a path.